Judge yells at Black Boy for speaking out, then security footage exposes the lie. "You will not speak in my courtroom again, boy!" The voice cracked like a whip, bouncing off the high stone walls of courtroom 2B. The gavel slammed once, loud enough to make a few in the gallery flinch. The judge's face was red, his finger pointing like a dagger. 12-year-old Elijah Moore stood frozen, eyes wide, lips trembling. He hadn't shouted. He hadn't even raised his voice. All he did was speak, quietly, respectfully, after watching his mother's public defender bumble through a half-hearted defense in a case that could ruin their lives. "I was just trying to tell the truth," Elijah whispered, but it was drowned out by the judge's next explosion. "You are not allowed to interrupt proceedings. You're lucky I don't hold you in contempt." Elijah looked at his mother, Tanya, handcuffed beside her lawyer. Her eyes were sunken, tired. She mouthed, "It's okay, baby," but Elijah knew it wasn't. Nothing about this was okay. This was the third court date. Tanya Moore, a janitor at Halston City Hall, was accused of stealing a confidential document and leaking it to the press. She swore she hadn't, said she'd found the document left behind in a trash can and reported it to her supervisor. But the city claimed it was sabotage, that she'd stolen the file, leaked it, and tried to frame someone else. Her appointed attorney barely spoke during the hearings. The prosecutor? Loud, confident, and smug. And now this judge, Judge Richard Calloway, a towering man with silver hair and an open dislike for disruptions, just humiliated her son in front of a packed courtroom. Elijah clenched his fists as the courtroom buzzed, people whispering and leaning into one another. His heart pounded. The lie was growing legs. They were painting them as criminals, as liars, as troublemakers. But Elijah knew something. He'd seen something. The night his mom was arrested, Elijah had been at City Hall waiting for her to finish her shift. He'd been sitting outside the records room, playing a game on his tablet, when he saw Councilman Darnell Reese come out of that very room, holding the same file now at the center of his mother's trial. He had footage. He hadn't shown it to anyone yet, not because he didn't want to, but because nobody would listen. He was just a kid, and worse, a black kid, in a system that already made up its mind. But not today. Today they pushed him too far. As the judge called for a recess, Elijah stormed out of the courtroom and ran down the corridor. His heart felt like it was going to explode out of his chest. He pulled out his phone, went to his gallery, and found the video clip he'd been too scared to show. Councilman Reese late at night, looking both ways before unlocking the door to the records room and walking out 5 minutes later with the file in his hand. The timestamp matched the time the document was allegedly stolen. Elijah's hands trembled. He looked up and saw the sign. Security control. Authorized personnel only. He walked in anyway. "Hey, you can't be in here," a guard said, standing up. Elijah turned the phone toward the man. "This is proof my mom's innocent." The guard paused, narrowed his eyes. "Who are you?" "Elijah Moore, Tanya Moore's son. You have cameras in the hallway outside the records room, right?" The man hesitated, then nodded. "Every hallway. Why?" Elijah's voice grew stronger. "I need you to pull footage from the night she was arrested. Please, it will show what really happened." The guard didn't answer at first. Then he reached for his keyboard. "If you're lying, I could lose my job." "I'm not." It took 20 minutes. Elijah waited in silence, his fingers tapping against his thigh like a ticking clock. Then the guard stopped, leaned in, and said, "Oh my God. He was here. Councilman Reese, at 9:43 p.m., took the folder and walked out like he owned the place." Elijah nodded slowly. "Can you burn it to a flash drive?" 10 minutes later, he was running back toward the courtroom, his sneakers squeaking against the marble. When he entered, the bailiff tried to stop him. "Court's back in session. You can't be—" "I have evidence!" Elijah shouted. His voice rang with something different now. Not fear. Purpose. "Your Honor, I have proof my mom didn't do it." The judge glared. "Bailiff, remove him!" "No!" Tanya cried. "Listen to him, please!" The bailiff hesitated. "I have security footage," Elijah said louder, "of Councilman Reese stealing the file." The courtroom fell silent. The judge narrowed his eyes. "That's a serious accusation. Do you think you can just walk in here with your toy phone and—" "I gave it to the guards. They verified it. They made copies. He stepped forward. I know you don't like me. I know you think I'm just some loud black kid trying to make noise. But I'm telling the truth. A ripple went through the gallery. The judge's face twitched. Fine, let's see it. 15 minutes later, the footage was displayed on the courtroom screen. There he was, Councilman Reese, caught on 2 cameras, removing the folder and leaving the building. No sign of Tanya, no sign of any crime by her. The courtroom erupted. The prosecutor turned white. Judge Calloway leaned back in his chair, suddenly quiet, his lips pressed thin. Dismissed, he muttered. All charges are dismissed. Elijah looked at his mom, who had broken into quiet sobs. She wasn't crying because she was free. She was crying because her son fought for her, and won. Outside the courtroom, news cameras swarmed. Who are you? One reporter asked Elijah. He stared straight into the lens. I'm Elijah Moore. I'm 12, and next time a judge tries to silence someone for telling the truth, maybe he should check the cameras first. Behind him, Judge Calloway stepped out into the hallway, only to be met by a marshal and a quiet man in a suit. Judge Calloway, the man said, flashing a badge. Internal Judicial Review. You'll be coming with us. The judge's eyes went wide. What? On what grounds? Obstruction of justice, pattern of bias, and knowingly ignoring evidence from a minor. And just like that, the lie unraveled completely. Justice didn't walk into that courtroom wearing a robe. He ran in wearing beat-up sneakers and a backpack. And he was only 12. Disclaimer, this story is a fictional dramatization created for entertainment purposes only.